Welcome. If you're an associate project manager apprentice, you've definitely seen S16 pop up on your requirements list, and you've probably thought, what on earth does that actually mean? Well, today, we're going to completely demystify this skill. We're going to give you a super clear path from what is this to I've totally got this. So let's look at the official wording for skill S16. Use an organization's continual improvement process, including lessons learned to improve performance. Wow. That is a mouthful, right? It's packed with buzzwords, and it can feel really abstract, maybe even a bit intimidating. The big question is, what does this actually look like day to day on the job? If that sounds a little confusing, hey, you are not alone. So to make this real, we're gonna follow the story of Jody. She's an APM Level 4 apprentice at a retailer called Ibis Stores, and she is staring down this exact challenge. We're gonna see how she goes from feeling totally overwhelmed to completely confident. Okay, so picture this. Jody's looking at her apprenticeship checklist, and her eyes just glaze over when she gets to S16. It feels so vague, so corporate. So she does what any of us would do. She reaches out to her mentor, Adam, for a little bit of help. Jody just lays it all out for Adam. Continual improvement, lessons learned. Where do I even begin with this stuff? It all sounds like jargon that has nothing to do with her actual projects. But Adam, he just smiles and reassures her. He explains that it's a super practical skill she's probably already using in small ways without even noticing. The trick is to learn how to do it on purpose, and more importantly, how to make it visible. So Adam decides the best place to start is to ditch all that corporate speak and just break down what this thing actually is. He starts with a really simple analogy to make the whole concept just click. Not just for Jody, but for you too. Think about how you'd make the perfect cup of coffee. You wouldn't just do the exact same thing every single time, right? No way. You tweak things. Maybe add a little more coffee, change the water temperature, adjust the grind. Then you taste it, see what worked, and you either repeat it or adjust again. That simple loop, tweak, taste, repeat, that right there is the heart of continual improvement. All right, now let's circle back to that official definition. There's one word in here that is absolutely key, and that word is proactive. See, continual improvement isn't just about waiting for something to break and then fixing it. It's about actively, constantly looking for ways to make things better, faster, or more efficient. Now, to make this even more practical, Adam shows Jody a super simple but really powerful framework they use at Ibis Stores. It's called the PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act. Think of it like a recipe. First, you plan an improvement. Then you do it, maybe on a small scale. Then you check the results. Did it work? And finally, you act. If it was a success, you make it the new standard. If not, you loop back and try something else. Simple. Okay, theory is great and all, but Jody needs to get her hands dirty and actually do this stuff. And wouldn't you know it, her line manager, Rita, gives her the perfect task. She asks Jody to run a lessons learned session for the marketing team's big summer SIPS campaign that just wrapped up. So Jody asks Rita, okay, what exactly is a lessons learned session? And Rita's explanation is perfect. She says it's just a meeting where the team gets together to talk about what happened on the project. The good, the bad, all of it. The whole point is to capture those insights so you can be smarter on the next one. It's about learning from your experience, not just forgetting about it and moving on. And here is the result of that session. Jody created this brilliant little log. You can see she's got a column for what went well, which is awesome because you want to know what to repeat. Then there's what could be improved. But honestly, the real magic is in that last column, action item. This is what turns a chat into a concrete plan for getting better. It's the whole point. Okay, awesome. Jody has now successfully used this skill in the real world. But as every apprentice knows, doing the work is only half the battle. Now, you gotta prove it. This is where her mentor, Adam, comes back in to help her turn this experience into solid, tangible portfolio evidence for AppDone. Adam hits Jody with the million-dollar question. So how do you take this meeting you ran and this table you made and turn it into formal evidence that proves you've nailed the S16 standard? What does an assessor really need to see? Adam explains that all the work she's already done is basically the raw material. Her lessons learned log, that can be written up as a formal lessons learned report. Those action items she identified, they can become a process improvement proposal. The key here is to package her real-world work into these officially recognized formats that assessors are looking for. Now this is the secret sauce. You have to pay attention to how Jody writes about what she did. She's not just listing tasks. She directly connects her actions back to that PDCA cycle we talked about. Look at this. Based on the low email CTR, that's the check part, I proposed A/B testing, that's the act. This little sentence screams to the assessor, I'm not just doing things, I'm applying a clear methodology. So her portfolio evidence is submitted and looking great, but there's one final hurdle, the big one, the endpoint assessment, or EPA, the final interview that determines if she passes. So Jody meets up with her coach, Olivia, to get prepped and ready. Olivia immediately hits her with a classic EPA question, one you're almost guaranteed to get. It's a broad question, which can be tricky. The challenge is to answer it in a way that's structured, quick, and absolutely jam-packed with evidence. And this is where that prep really pays off. And here it is, the model answer that Olivia helps Jody put together. You can see it uses the famous STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. She sets the scene, situation, explains the problem, task, details exactly what she did, action, and, this is critical, she provides a measurable, quantifiable result, a 15% increase. That is exactly what an assessor wants to hear. It's a complete story that proves her impact. So what Jody's whole journey shows us is that mastering skill S16 isn't about tackling some massive, scary corporate project. Not at all. It's about building a habit of making small, consistent, smart improvements over time. Remember the coffee? Tweak, taste, repeat. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the first small improvement you can make in your own work tomorrow? Thanks for joining this explainer.